call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Special board meeting. We will start this meeting with the pledge. Okay, gonna note for the record that Mrs. Horth Kruger, Mr. Turner, Mr. Fensel, myself are in person, and Ms. Fry is virtual. First up on the agenda, comments from the public. Hearing none, we will move on to our consent agenda.
President George Davis and members of the board, I recommend that you approve the consent agenda for this meeting. The consent agenda includes a human resources report, which contains individual compensation adjustments, consolidations, and cost reductions for MSDWT staff, creation of one additional office personnel position, a memo regarding title changes for administrative positions, administrator salary ranges, and classified salary and hourly rate ranges.
No, if there are no further questions, Madam President, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
I'll second.
Properly second. Okay, we'll call for a roll call vote. Mrs. Horth Kruger,
Aye.
Mr. Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Fensel,
Aye.
Ms. Fry,
Aye.
and I as well. Motion passes 5-0.
Dr. Woodson, President George Davis, a member of the board, members of the board, I come to you tonight in accordance with requirements for collective bargaining in the state of Indiana regarding teacher contracts. I'm pleased to share with the board that in alignment with Indiana Code, we have held a public pre-bargaining meeting on September 12th, 2023. We have agreed upon a tentative agreement with the Washington Township Education Association. We have posted that tentative agreement on our website for over 72 hours, and we have held a first reading of the tentative agreement last week on October 25th, 2023 with you as the board. Additionally, the Washington Township Education Association has held its ratification meeting and has ratified the tentative agreement with their membership. Based on that, I am now prepared to bring a copy of the Washington Township Collective Bargaining Agreement for 2023 through 2025 for your approval. A complete copy of the document is available in your board documents for review, as well as a red line copy that tracks changes from the previous agreement. Before highlighting some of these changes, I would like to take the opportunity to thank three groups for their involvement in this process. First, I'd like to thank Dr. Sean Taylor, Mrs. Becky Smith, and Mr. John Mays, who along with me represented MSDWT as our bargaining team. Second, I'd like to thank Mr. Anthony Dean, Mr. Paul Napier, and the entire WTEA bargaining team for their collaboration as we worked to craft an agreement that supports our teachers. And finally, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Woodson, and all the members of the board for your guidance and support in executive sessions throughout the bargaining season. Through your guidance and support, we were able to not only reach an agreement in record time, but also agree to the first two-year agreement that Washington Township has had in a very long time. Your thoughtful consideration was critical, and I thank you for your commitment through the process. The following comments highlight some of the newly bargained items in this collective bargaining agreement. First, we have a term of 2 years. It also includes a reopener, and we will reopen to bargain salary and wages only for 2024 if enrollment drops less than 10,476 students or rises above 10,626 students. In the first year of the contract, 2023-2024, the funds dedicated by the district to teacher-based salaries is 6.05%. The base salary increase for teachers in 2023-2024 for those eligible is $3,500 retroactive back to the beginning of the 23-24 school year. For teachers who have taught 4 to 16 years in Washington Township and who, after receiving that $3,500 base salary increase, are below the line on the new hire salary schedule, commensurate with their total years of teaching experience, they will receive an additional base salary increase up to $2,000, also retroactive back to the beginning of the 23-24 contract year. Our first year teacher salary will move to $50,000. Any current teachers below $50,000 after the increase this year, if they qualify, move to that $50,000 rate, retroactive to the beginning of the 23-24 school year. For year two, in 2024-2025, the funds dedicated by the district to teacher base salaries are 3.05%. And we plan a $2,000 base salary increase for qualifying teachers, as well as a $1,000 one-time stipend for qualifying teachers. Our first year teacher salary will increase to $51,000 in year two of the contract in 2024-2025. In the area of leaves and personal days, teachers that do not use any of their 4 personal business days will carry 3 days into their illness leave bank and be paid $200 for 1 personal business day. In the area of insurance, an increase of $300 in contribution on the part of the teacher to the self-insurance fund, but also the district's monthly contribution increases, and those amounts are in your documents for this evening. Teachers will not see that as an increase in the premiums they pay. It was money that was placed out of the funds in this year's settlement into the teacher retirement fund, or into the teacher insurance fund. The maximum dental benefit per year moves from $1,200 to $1,500, and our plan for health insurance was modified to add alternative orthopedic surgeries like those performed by Regenexx, and to incentivize surgeries conducted at the Wellbridge Surgical Center. We also removed access to the Dario Way Forward app. In the area of retirement, teachers that are employed on J-1 visas will not have access to TRF, health insurance in retirement, or employer contributions to the 403B, 401A, 457B, or VEBA. They can still make personal contributions into a 403B. That was done because those J-1 visa teachers simply do not, by the structure of the J-1 visa, spend enough time in the United States to qualify and vest in those retirement funds. In the area of ECA, we removed the high school gymnastics coach. We consolidated the freshman class sponsor, sophomore class sponsor, junior class sponsor, and senior class sponsor to one single class sponsor stipend. We didn't consolidate those positions. We're just calling it class sponsor, regardless of the grade level. We still may have one for each grade. We also added a middle school National Junior Honor Society stipend, a high school Key Club stipend, an elementary academic competition, and an elementary intramural program stipend. We increased the compensation in ECA for the high school academic competition, high school drama, which will now be called high school theater. We also increased the high school stage director stipend and stipends for assistant coaches in the area of cross-country, tennis, volleyball, golf, soccer, and cheerleading. The details of those increases are also available in your documents. We increased the professional development rate that is paid to teachers for time outside of contract hours when they are doing professional development from $15 an hour to $25 an hour. And teachers will once again in 23-24 receive payment for 2 pre-semester professional development days. That does not continue into 24-25, as the funds that were provided for that were funded via ESSER. Faculty can now be accompanied by 2 guests to a middle school or high school athletic event, excluding county tournaments, that previously they were able to have 1 guest attend with them at no charge, and it has increased to 2 guests. And then we also attended to ERB compliance requirements. This concludes my presentation of the teacher collective bargaining agreement, and I'll be pleased to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
If there are no, or go ahead, Bill.
Just it's not a question, but each year that we actually, I don't have to do it. Well, I still have to do it next year. This is a 2-year agreement, but on these agreements, I have the ability, I can vote on them, but because of obvious conflict of my wife working in the district, I choose not to vote. So I will abstain when we get to that part.
Are no further questions. I move approval of the 2023-2025 collective bargaining agreement between the Metropolitan School District of Washington Township and the Washington Township Education Association as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
I'll second.
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Fry?
Aye.
I am an aye as well. All opposed?
I abstain.
Motion passes. Four,
Yes.
four in favor and one abstention.
Dr. Woodson, members of the board, as you know, the tradition in Washington Township has been to announce compensation increases for eligible classified staff and eligible administrators. At the same time, we approve a new collective bargaining agreement. And in alignment with that past practice, I also bring forth a resolution tonight that includes compensation increases and benefits changes for these groups as well. All documents referenced in the resolution are in your board documents for this evening, in addition to the resolution itself. Before I present the resolution, I'd like to highlight the fact that it, like the teacher CBA, includes some planned compensation increases and stipends for some groups in the 2024-2025 school year. I do want to acknowledge that these are planned compensation increases, and just like the teacher collective bargaining agreement, includes language that would allow for an adjustment of these increases based upon our enrollment in 24-25. The same is true with the elements of this resolution. The increases approved for 24-25 would be reevaluated in the same way if we see a substantial increase or decrease in student enrollment. I'd once again like to reiterate my thanks to the board and Dr. Woodson for your support and guidance via multiple executive sessions as we worked to determine the content of this resolution. Specifically, the resolution we are recommending for your approval tonight includes approval of the attached 2023-2024 performance-based compensation plan for eligible certificated administrators, the approval of an increase of a pro rata adjusted base salary increase in an amount equal to the teacher's fixed dollar amount of $3,500 divided by the teacher's standard number of contract days, which is 185, multiplied by the applicable days used to calculate an administrator's respective daily rate for the 23-24 contract year, retroactive to July 1st, 2023 for all eligible administrators. To say that a bit more plainly, administrators will receive the same daily increase that a teacher received in their compensation. Approval of a 2% increase to the hourly wage rate or base salary retroactive to July 1st, 2023 for all eligible classified employees. Approval of a 2% increase to the hourly wage rate or base salary for all eligible classified employees in 2024-2025, and approval of a one-time stipend of $300 to all eligible classified employees in 2024-2025. There's also an approval of annual milestone bonuses to be paid in both 2023-2024 and in 2024-2025 to all eligible classified employees and administrators in the amount of $200 to all classified employees and administrators who work a regular schedule of 15 hours a week or more and who have worked in the school corporation 5 to 9.99 consecutive years. Milestone bonuses to be paid to all eligible classified employees and administrators in the amount of $400 for all classified employees and administrators who work a regular schedule of 15 hours a week or more and who have worked in the school corporation 10 to 14.99 consecutive years, and also milestone bonuses to be paid to all eligible classified employees and administrators in the amount of $600 to all classified employees and administrators who work a regular schedule of 15 hours a week or more and who have worked in the school corporation for 15 consecutive years or more. Additionally, the resolution includes approval of the attached contracts or work provisions for the chief financial officer and the director of transportation. And since the approved compensation package does contain one-time stipend payments for some employees, the board authorizes the school district to utilize funds from the education fund, the operating referendum fund, the operations fund, the rainy day fund, and/or any appropriate grant funds in a sufficient amount for those one-time payments. The Board of Education further adopts via the resolution the administrator fringe benefits document, which is attached as Exhibit A in your documents for this evening, and it would be effective January 1st of 2024. This document, when it takes effect, will supersede all prior administrative fringe benefits and superintendent's cabinet fringe benefits plan documents. Finally, the Board of Education further approves through this resolution administrator contracts reflecting changes under this resolution, which are attached as Exhibit B and incorporated by reference within the resolution. This concludes my presentation of the resolution for 2023 through 2025 administrators and classified staff compensation, and I'll be pleased to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
No, if there are no further questions, I move we approve the resolution for 2023-2025 administrators and classified staff compensation as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
Second. Aye.
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 Ms. George Davis, just so you are aware, I'm having a really hard time hearing you. I'm not sure if you're not close to your mic. I hear everybody else.
Are you having trouble hearing me? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's much better now.
All right, I got the mic now.
President George Davis and members of the board, as my final action for this evening, I request that the board grant Mr. Tom Hakim's request to apply for a Woodrow Wilson Fellowship microgrant that will be used to market and promote Northview Middle School. This item was placed on the agenda for this board meeting rather than the regular board meeting schedule due to the timeline required for grant application. Mr. Hakim would be here to present the item himself, but I offered to present it for him because I had one or two other things on the agenda. So a copy of the grant proposal is in your board docs for this evening. Mr. Hakim and Mr. Doss did brief me on the microgrant, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about that application at this time.
Board, any questions?
Madam President, if there are no questions, I wholeheartedly move for the approval of the Woodrow Wilson MBA and Educational Leadership Microgrant as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Call for the vote. Mr. Fensel,
Aye.
Mr. Turner,
Aye.
Mrs. Horth Krueger,
Aye.
Ms. Fry.
Aye.
I am an aye as well. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Just a thank you to everyone involved in everything it took to get to this evening. Job well done. Thank you.
Ditto.
I move we adjourn.
I second that.
All those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.